it's Rachel from All About Planners. In this video I'm doing a review of the Artfan Dog Grid Notebook. So I did receive a copy of this notebook for free in exchange for doing this review from a website called Organizer Factory. So it's an online shop that has not only dog grid notebooks but also pens and planners, etc. I'll include a link below if you're interested. So this notebook is pretty cheap. It's under $10 US. It's about $8.20 US. For a dog grid notebook, that's pretty cheap. And the other thing, which you probably noticed by now, is the really nice blue cover. So I'm so bored of black covers on dog grid notebooks. It's so boring. They all look the same. So I really like this blue color. The page size is about 5.5 inches wide by about 8.5 inches high, which is pretty standard for a dog grid notebook, pretty much the same size as most of them. It's about, I'd say, a bit more than 1 centimeter thick, and it's very lightweight. Like, it feels like it weighs pretty much nothing. You put this in your bag and not really notice that it's there. It has 2 built-in ribbon bookmarks, which are different colors, which is a nice change, because sometimes they'll include 2, but then some companies will include 2, but then they're the same color, which just confuses me. I need different colors so I can go, this is my monthly, and then this one's my weekly. So let's have a look at the inside pages. So it's not bright white paper, sadly. I do love bright white paper. It's the usual kind of ivory cream color that most dog grid notebooks have. And the other thing I should point out is the numbered pages. So some of the cheaper dog grid notebooks around the same price as this one, like under $10 US, they won't have the numbered pages, but this one does. So definitely a major pro. There's also more than 100 dog grid pages too, which is, again, quite a hefty amount. The pages lay flat on their own. I'm not touching it. As you can see, it's laying pretty much flat on its own. I jump to another page that's not got like the binding seam or anything. Again, it's laying flat, which is pretty good for a cheap notebook. At the front, it does give you some pre-done contents pages. You get 4 of these, so 1, 2, 3, and then the other side makes it 4. Which is lined, so you can just fill your pages straight in there, and then there's no future log or any other like dates at a glance or anything. It just goes straight into the dot grid that you can choose as you please. At the back is a pocket folder, which is quite roomy. You could put plenty of stickers, some sticky notes, etc. in there. And the last thing I wanted to touch on was the pen test. So I grabbed my usual gel pens, ballpoint, fine tip, some thicker marker pens, some stamps, highlighters. So let's have a look how the paper fared. Now, cheap notebooks can be hit and miss. Sometimes I'll be pleasantly surprised with not a lot of ghosting and bleed through, and sometimes they'll just be so bad. This one kind of sits in the middle. The gel pen and the ballpoint pens, you know, you can hardly see them, but the marker pens do have a bit of ghosting and a little bit on the highlighters as well. For the price range, I'd say this is pretty typical paper. Like, it's not brilliant, but it's not too bad either. Just show you. Oh yeah, and the maybe stamps, of course, bled through, but the other stamps, the erasable highlighter, not too bad. So that is it for this review. I'll include the link below if you do like this notebook and wanted to try it out. I also received another notebook from this brand, or this website, which was the Paloma Dog Grid Notebook, which is quite similar to this one. I also got a nice pretty blue cover for it as well, but it doesn't have the page numbers or the contents page. So if you just want a notebook that's very like back to basics, then maybe you might prefer the Paloma. I'll include the link below if you're interested in looking at that review. It was around the same price though as well. So personally, my preference would be to go for the page numbers. And the other thing I should probably point out, they're not indented into the dot grid. So sometimes the dot grid notebooks, they'll have page numbers, which is great, but then it'll put it like here, so you kind of lose the corner dot grid. This one, they've thought it out and put it below. So I actually quite like this one for its price range. This is probably one of the better dot grid notebooks that I've seen that also has page numbers too. So links will be below, and I'll also have links to the blog post if you want to have a closer look at the pen test, etc. And don't forget to subscribe. I usually post a couple of planner review or dog grid notebook reviews each week on my YouTube channel.